Welcome everybody, this is Alan with Daily Armor of God. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. This is Reading the Bible in 123 days. We're on day 80, and today we'll be continuing Jeremiah, reading chapters 36 through 43. So, still here in Jeremiah. So, there we go with Jeremiah 36 verse 1. And it came to pass in the 4th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that this word came unto Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Take thee a roll of a book, and write therein all the words that I have spoken unto thee against Israel, and against Judah, and against all the nations, from the day I spake unto thee, from the days of Josiah, even unto this day. It may be that the house of Judah will hear all the evil which I purpose to do unto them, that they may return every man from his evil way, that I may forgive their iniquity and their sin. Then Jeremiah called Baruch the son of Neriah, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of Yahweh which he had spoken unto him up upon a roll of a book. And Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, I am shut up, I cannot go into the house of Yahweh. Therefore go thou and read the roll which thou hast written from my mouth, the words of Yahweh in the ears of the people in Yahweh's house, upon the fasting day. And also thou shalt read them in the ears of all Judah that come out of their cities. It may be they will present their supplication before Yahweh, and will turn every one from his evil way. For great is the anger and the fury that Yahweh hath pronounced against this people. Baruch the son of Neriah did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the book the words of Yahweh in Yahweh's house. It came to pass in the 5th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah king of Judah, in the 9th month, that they proclaimed a fast before Yahweh to all the people in Jerusalem, and all the people that came from the cities of Judah unto Jerusalem. Then read Baruch in the book the words of Jeremiah in the house of Yahweh, in the chamber of Gemariah, the son of Shaphan, the scribe, in the higher court, at the entry of the new gate of Yahweh's house, in the ears of all the people. When Micaiah, the son of Gemariah, the son of Shaphan, had heard out of the book all the words of Yahweh, then he went down to the king's house into the scribe's chamber, and all the princes sat there, even Elishama the scribe, and Delilah the son of Shemaiah, and Elnathan the son of Achbor, and Gemariah the son of Shaphan, and Zedekiah the son of Hananiah, and all the princes. Then Micaiah declared unto them all the words that he had heard, when Baruch read the book in the ears of the people. Therefore all the princes sent Jeduhi, the son of Nethaniah, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Cushi, unto Baruch, saying, Take in thine hand the roll wherein thou hast read in the ears of the people, and come. So Baruch the son of Neriah took the roll in his hand, and came unto them. And they said unto him, Sit down now, and read it in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears. Now it came to pass, when they had heard all the words, they were afraid both one and another, and said unto Baruch, We will surely tell the king of all these words. And they asked Baruch, saying, Tell us now, how didst thou write all these words at his mouth? Then Baruch answered them, He pronounced all these words unto me with his mouth, and I wrote them with ink in the book. Then said the princes unto Baruch, Go, hide thee, thou and Jeremiah, let no man know where ye be. And they went into the king into the court, but they laid up the roll in the chamber of Elishama the scribe, and told all the words in the ears of the king. So the king sent Jehudi to fetch the roll, and he took it out of Elishama the scribe's chamber. And Jehudi read it in the ears of the king, and in the ears of all the princes which stood beside the king. Now the king sat in the winter house in the 9th month, and there was a fire on the hearth burning before him. And it came to pass that when Jehudi had read 3 or 4 leaves, he cut it with a penknife, and cast it into the fire that was on the hearth, until all the roll was consumed in the fire that was on the hearth. Yet they were not afraid, nor rent their garments, neither the king nor any of his servants that heard all these words. Nevertheless, Elnathan and Delilah and Gemariah had made intercession to the king that he would not burn the roll, but he would not hear them. But the king commanded Jerahmeel the son of Hamelech, and Sariah the son of Azriel, and Shelemiah the son of Abdiel, to take Baruch the scribe and Jeremiah the prophet, but Yahweh hid them. And the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah after that the king had burned the roll, in the words which Baruch wrote at the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, Take thee again another roll, and write it in the former words all that were in the first roll, which Jehoiakim the king of Judah hath burnt. And thou shalt say to Jehoiakim king of Judah, Thus saith Yahweh, Thou hast burned this roll, saying, Why hast thou written therein, saying, The king of Babylon shall certainly come and destroy this land, and shall cause to cease from thence man and beast? Therefore thus saith Yahweh of Jehoiakim king of Judah, He shall have none to sit upon the throne of David, and his dead body shall be cast out in the day to the heat, and in the night to the frost. And I will punish him and his seed and his servants for their iniquity, and I will bring upon them, and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and upon the men of Judah, all the evil that I have pronounced against them, but they hearkened not. Then took Jeremiah another roll, and gave it to Baruch the scribe, the son of Neriah, who wrote therein from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the book which Jehoiakim king of Judah had burned in the fire, and there were added besides unto them many like words. Jeremiah 37. And King Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, reigned instead of Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, whom Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon made king in the land of Judah. But neither he nor his servants nor the people of the land did hearken to the words of Yahweh, which he spake by the prophet Jeremiah. And Zedekiah the king sent Jehukal, the son of Shelemiah, and Zephaniah, the son of Maaseiah, the priest, to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Pray now unto Yahweh our God for us. Now Jeremiah came in and went out among the people, for they had not put him into prison. Then Pharaoh's army was come forth out of Egypt, and when the Chaldeans that besieged Jerusalem heard tidings of them, they departed from Jerusalem. Then came the word of Yahweh unto the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, the God of Israel, Thus shall ye say to the king of Judah, that sent you unto me to inquire of me, Behold, Pharaoh's army, which is come forth to help you, shall return to Egypt into their own land. And the Chaldeans shall come again and fight against this city, and take it, and burn it with fire. Thus saith Yahweh, Deceive not yourself, saying, The Chaldeans shall surely depart from us, for they shall not depart. For though ye had smitten the whole army of the Chaldeans that fight against you, and there remained but wounded men among them, yet should they rise up every man in his tent, and burn this city with fire. And it came to pass, that when the army of the Chaldeans was broken up from Jerusalem for the fear of Pharaoh's army, then Jeremiah went forth out to Jerusalem to go into the land of Benjamin, to separate himself thence in the midst of the people. When he was in the gate of Benjamin, a captain of the ward was there, whose name was Irijah, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Hananiah, and he took Jeremiah the prophet, saying, Thou fallest away to the Chaldeans. Then Jeremiah said, It is false, I fall not away to the Chaldeans. But he hearkened not to him, so Irijah took Jeremiah and brought him to the princes. Wherefore the princes were wroth with Jeremiah, and smote him, and put him in prison in the house of Jonathan the scribe, for he had made that the prison. Then Jeremiah was entered into the dungeon and in the cabins, and Jeremiah had remained there many days. Then Zedekiah the king sent and took him out, and the king asked him secretly in his house, and said, Is there any word from Yahweh? And Jeremiah said, There is. For said he, Thou shalt be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon. Moreover, Jeremiah said unto King Zedekiah, What have I offended against thee, or against thy servants, or against this people, that ye have put me in prison? Where are now your prophets which prophesied unto you, saying, The king of Babylon shall not come against you, nor against this land? Therefore hear now, I pray thee, O my lord the king, let my supplication, I pray thee, be accepted before thee, that thou cause me not to return to the house of Jonathan the scribe, lest I die there. Then Zedekiah the king commanded that they should commit Jeremiah into the court of the prison, that they should give him daily a piece of bread out of the baker's street, until all the bread in the city were spent. Thus Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison. Man, I can't even imagine Jeremiah's situation. All he was doing was saying the things that God wanted him to say, and he's getting imprisoned and beaten by his own people. They won't listen to anything he says, and yeah, I can't imagine how Jeremiah feels. Jeremiah, probably from his point of view, he's like, what have I done? What have I done to deserve prison and beatings just for speaking what the Lord wants me to speak? But yet he continues to do so despite his situation. That is a great lesson we can learn too. Jeremiah had great boldness to say what God wanted him to say, despite, everybody being against him. That's something that we should strive for and pray for too, is having great boldness. There's so many people in the Bible that had great boldness, and Jeremiah is definitely one of them. He had great boldness in the face of his own people that hated him and hated God, and did not want to live for him at all, turned their back to him, served other false gods. But he still persevered and continued. But it definitely was a struggle. I mean, the Bible said he was in prison many days. That could be, in those terms, it could be years, because I think the Bible worded it that way when they were talking about Joseph being in prison, and it turned out Joseph was in there many years, actually. So yeah, it's just amazing that Jeremiah still, despite persecution and being imprisoned, he still stuck to what the Lord had told him to do, which is just amazing. Like I said, something that we should all strive for, having that boldness to continue in Christ, despite overwhelming evil against you and overwhelming odds against you, just to stay true and rely on God and only on Him. But great lessons here in Jeremiah, which most people wouldn't think, oh, there's nothing to be learned from the Old Testament, right? There's nothing for us here today. Yes, there is. There's tons. Every book of the Bible has meaning and purpose, otherwise it wouldn't be in the Bible. And there's definitely things we can learn and apply to our lives from every single book of the Bible. Not everything, mind you, but there is a lot. Continuing on, Jeremiah 38. Then Shephatiah, the son of Matan, and Gedaliah, the son of Pashur, and Jekul, the son of Shelemiah, and Pashur, the son of Malchiah, heard the words that Jeremiah had spoken unto all the people, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, He that remaineth in this city shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. But he that goeth forth to the Chaldeans shall live, for he shall have his life for a prey, and shall live. Thus saith Yahweh, This city shall surely be given into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, which shall take it. Therefore the princes said unto the king, We beseech thee, let this man be put to death, for thus he weakeneth the hands of the men of war that remain in the city, and the hands of all the people, in speaking such words unto them. For this man seeketh not the welfare of this people, but the hurt. Then Zedekiah the king said, Behold, he is in your hand, for the king is not he that can do anything against you. Then took they Jeremiah, and cast him into the dungeon of Malchiah the son of Hamelech, that was in the court of the prison. They let down Jeremiah with cords. In the dungeon there was no water, but mire. Jeremiah sunk in the mire. Oh man, can you imagine this right here? Picture this in your mind. So this wasn't even like a true prison like what we think of today. This was like a hole in the ground, almost like a well. Just picture a well basically, but instead of water, clean water, it was like mire, like swamp, disgusting, despicable, swampy water, so to speak. Like, it was just nasty, and Jeremiah sunk in it. So he was probably, maybe even up to his neck, if not his waist, in that stuff. I mean, that is horrible. That is, like, insanely horrible. It's not just prison where you're shackled up to a wall, and at least you're on dry cement or dry, rock or whatever it is. But this is just like a hole, a pit full of mire. Oh, and they had to let him down by cords, by a rope, essentially. This is the only way to get in and out. I mean, how horrible is that? Can you imagine being like half your body in like mud and swamp water, and you can't go anywhere? You can't lift yourself out. And if you had to go to the bathroom, I don't even want to talk about that situation, but man, horrible. Horrible. That's like torture mixed in with prison, all combined. So it's not just prison for Jeremiah, it's like horrible prison. Like, this is nuts what he goes through here. Now when Ebed-Melech, the Ethiopian, one of the eunuchs which was in the king's house, heard that they had put Jeremiah in the dungeon, the king then sitting in the gate of Benjamin, Ebed-melech went forth out of the king's house and spake to the king, saying, My lord the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet, whom they have cast into the dungeon, and he is like to die for hunger in the place where he is. For there is no more bread in the city. And the king commanded Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Take from thence 30 men with thee, and take up Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he die. So Ebed-melech took the men with him, and went into the house of the king under the treasury, took thence old cast clouts and old rotten rags, and let them down by cords into the dungeon to Jeremiah. And Ebed-melech the Ethiopian said unto Jeremiah, Put now these old cast clouts and rotten rags under thine armholes under the cords. And Jeremiah did so. So they drew up Jeremiah with cords, and took him up out of the dungeon, and Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison. Isn't it also interesting how Zedekiah the king, he is so stubborn here, and we know how stubborn he is, and he won't listen to Jeremiah, but at the same time, and I think this is really odd, and I don't really understand it fully, but he has a little bit of mercy on Jeremiah, which I absolutely do not understand, because so far his character is he doesn't want to listen to Jeremiah. So it's almost like, why is he helping him? So that's something that is kind of weird. I don't really get, but it's just interesting to start thinking about that. Like, Zedekiah, he's not listening to a word Jeremiah says. He even told these men, do with Jeremiah what you see fit. And what did they do? They put him into like this torturous prison. But then he turns around later and tells him to fetch him out of there. So it's like he has a very confusing personality, doesn't he? Jeremiah 38:14. Then Zedekiah the king sent and took Jeremiah the prophet unto him in the third entry that is in the house of Yahweh. And the king said unto Jeremiah, I will ask thee a thing, hide nothing from me. And Jeremiah said unto Zedekiah, If I declare unto you, wilt thou not surely put me to death? And if I give thee counsel, wilt thou not hearken unto me? Yeah. This is pretty much what I would say at this point. I've already told you several times. And Jeremiah's like, every time I've told you the truth, you've beaten me, you've imprisoned me, threatened to put me to death. And every time I've given you counsel in the past, you don't listen to me. Don't hearken to me. So Zedekiah the king swears secretly unto Jeremiah, saying, As Yahweh liveth that made us this soul, I will not put thee to death, neither will I give thee into the hand of these men that seek thy life. Then said Jeremiah unto Zedekiah, Thus saith Yahweh, the God of hosts, the God of Israel, If thou wilt assuredly go forth unto the king of Babylon's princes, then thy soul shall live, and the city shall not be burned with fire, and thou shalt live, and thine house. But if thou wilt not go forth to the king of Babylon's princes, then shall this city be given into the hand of the Chaldeans, and they shall burn it with fire, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand. Zedekiah the king said unto Jeremiah, I am afraid of the Jews that are fallen to the Chaldeans, lest they deliver me into their hand, and they mock me. But Jeremiah said, They shall not deliver thee. Obey, I beseech thee, the voice of Yahweh, which I speak unto thee. So it shall be well unto thee, and thy soul shall live. But if thou refuse to go forth, this is the word that Yahweh hath showed me. And behold, all the women that are left in the king of Judah's house shall be brought forth to the king of Babylon's princes, and those women shall say, Thy friends have set thee on, and have prevailed against thee. Thy feet are sunk in the mire, and they are turned away back. So they shall bring out all thy wives and thy children to the Chaldeans, and thou shalt not escape out of their hand, but shall be taken by the hand of the king of Babylon, and thou shalt cause the city to be burned with fire. Then said Zedekiah to Jeremiah, Let no man know of these words, and thou shalt not die. For if the princes hear that I have talked with thee, and they come unto thee, and say unto thee, Declare us now unto what thou hast said unto the king, hide it not from us, and we will not put you to death, also what the king said unto thee. Then thou shalt say unto them, I presented my supplication before the king, that he would not cause me to return to Jonathan's house to die there. And so much subterfuge going on here, it's crazy. Then came all the princes unto Jeremiah, and asked him, and he told them according to all the words that the king had commanded him. So they left off speaking with him, for the matter was not perceived. So Jeremiah abode in the court of the prison till the day that Jerusalem was taken, and he was there when Jerusalem was taken. So obviously, if you've read the Bible before, you know what's coming, and you know the impending doom, and you know that Zedekiah does not listen to Jeremiah, and that is why the city gets burned, the walls get torn down, the temple gets destroyed and looted. People get killed, people die by the pestilence, by the sword, by the famine, because they were besieged. And then a lot of them also that didn't die from all that were taken captive to Babylon. Sad, isn't it? Very sad that it just goes to show human nature and human pride and arrogance and stubbornness. Man, that is definitely something we need to be careful of. Very, very careful, because that was Zedekiah's downfall, wasn't it? If he would have just listened, yeah, he would have been captive, but he would have lived, people in his house, like what Jeremiah said. The city wouldn't have been burned. They, just surrender. That's basically what it is. Surrender, and they would have looted everything. I'm sure would have taken everybody captive, but at least they wouldn't. A lot of them wouldn't have died from famine, from being besieged, or in pestilence, sicknesses, and also a lot of them were just killed straight up when finally they did tear down the walls and got into the city. They just started slaughtering people, but then they kept like the choice of the people, be slaves and serve the king of Babylon. But yeah, if he would have just listened, yeah, they would have had the same fate, being captive in Babylon, but a lot more of them would have lived, and the city wouldn't have been destroyed to the extent it was destroyed. Just another lesson of, we don't listen to God, do it our own way, we're gonna incur, we're going to generate greater consequences for ourselves than what originally God had planned. I mean, either way, God's wrath was going to be poured out. So if he would have listened to God, yeah, God's wrath wouldn't have gone away. They would have still been taken captive and had to serve 70 years, because that's what God said was going to happen. Either way. But it's just a matter of how many people died and how much destruction there was. So, Jeremiah 39. In the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it. In the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up. And all the princes of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate, even Nergal-Sharezer and Samgar-Nebo, Shar-Shechem, Rabsaris, Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, with all the residue of the princes of the king of Babylon. And it came to pass that when Zedekiah the king of Judah saw them, and all the men of war, then they fled and went forth out of the city by night by the way of the king's garden, by the gate betwixt the two walls, and he went out the way of the plain. But the Chaldeans' army pursued after them, and overtook Zedekiah in the plain of Jericho, and when they had taken him, they brought him to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to Riblah, and the land of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. Then the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. Also, the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah. Moreover, he put out Zedekiah's eyes and bound him with chains to carry him to Babylon. Again, how horrible is that? If he would have just listened, he would not have had all this evil fall upon him. He probably wouldn't have seen his two sons killed right before his eyes, which would have been horrible. And then also his own eyes being put out. You can imagine what that means. They literally put out his eyes. Either by, I don't want to get to great details, but you can guess what that means. They put out his eyes. He lost his eyes. Bound him with chains and carry him to Babylon. And if you know, Babylon is really far away. If you know, like the route that they use to travel from Babylon to Jerusalem, it is not just like a straight shot. They go like up and around and down. Like, it's a very, very long journey. So can you imagine, you know, everything you've had is gone. You were king, now you're nothing. You don't have any sons, you don't have any, all your nobles, all your friends are dead. City's destroyed. You're in chains. You have no eyes, and you're walking this journey, really long journey, into slavery. Oh man, it's horrible, yes, but it's also, you know, he had fair warning. He had it more than enough warnings, and you know, he's not completely innocent here either. Yeah, it's horrible what happened to him, but he's not innocent. I mean, he did evil as well as most of the people of Jerusalem, um, doing, you know, abominations. I'm not even want to talk about it all, but they're serving other gods. And only when things were starting to get really tough did they turn to the one true God. But even when they did turn to him, they wouldn't listen to him. They wanted, you know, an easy fix or something. I don't know what they were expecting, but they didn't fully trust in God, is what my point is. So, sad. Sad that he chose the worst punishment here. And that is just horrible. And the Chaldeans burned the king's house and the houses of the people with fire and brake down the walls of Jerusalem. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carried away captive into Babylon the remnant of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away that fell to him with the rest of the people that remained. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left the poor of the people which had nothing in the land of Judah, and gave them vineyards and fields at the same time. Now Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, gave charge concerning Jeremiah to Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, saying, Take him and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do unto him even as he shall say unto thee. So Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, sent, and Nebuchadnezzar, Rabsaris, and Nergal-Sharezer, Rabmag, and all the king of Babylon's princes. Even they sent and took Jeremiah out of the court of the prison, and committed him unto Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, that he should carry him home. So he dwelt among the people. Now the word of Yahweh came unto Jeremiah while he was shut up in the court of the prison, saying, Go and speak to Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring my words upon this city for evil and not for good, and they shall be accomplished in that day before thee. But I will deliver thee in that day, saith Yahweh, and thou shalt not be given into the hand of the men of whom thou art afraid. For I will surely deliver thee, and thou shalt not fall by the sword, but thy life shall be for a prey unto thee, because thou hast put thy trust in me, saith Yahweh. Jeremiah 40. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, after that Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had let him go from Ramah, when he had taken him, being bound in chains among all that were carried away captive of Jerusalem, and Judah, which were carried away captive unto Babylon. By the way, do you notice that Jeremiah didn't get taken away captive to Babylon? I guess you could say, even though he went through all that, you know, being imprisoned, God still was looking out for him because he was serving him faithfully. So we see God's mercy here. God's mercy on Jeremiah. The captain of the guard took Jeremiah and said unto him, Yahweh thy God hath pronounced this evil upon this place. Now Yahweh hath brought it and done according as he hath said, because ye have sinned against Yahweh and have not obeyed his voice. Therefore this thing is come upon you. And now, behold, I loose thee this day from the chains which were upon thine hand. If it seem good unto thee to come with me into Babylon, come, and I will look well unto thee. But if it seem ill unto thee to come with me into Babylon, forbear. Behold, all the land is before thee, whither it seemeth good and convenient for thee to go, thither go. Now while he was not yet gone back, he said, Go back also to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, whom the king of Babylon hath made governor of the cities of Judah, and dwell with him among the people, or go wheresoever it seemeth convenient unto thee to go. So the captain of the guard gave him victuals and reward, and let him go. Then went Jeremiah unto Gedaliah the son of Ahikam to Mizpah, and dwelt with him among the people that were left in the land. Now when all the captains of the forces which were in the fields, even they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah the son of Ahikam governor in the land, and had committed unto him men and women and children, and of the poor of the land, of them that were not carried away captive to Babylon. Then they came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, even Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan and Jonathan the sons of Kariah, and Sariah the son of Tanhumeth, and the sons of Ephiah the Nephotathite, and Jezniah the son of Meccathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan sware unto them and to their men, saying, Fear not to serve the Chaldeans, dwell in the land and serve the king of Babylon, it shall be well with you. As for me, behold, I will dwell at Mizpah, to serve the Chaldeans which shall come unto us. But ye gather ye wine and summer fruits and oil, and put them in your vessels, and dwell in your cities that ye have taken. Likewise, when all the Jews that were in Moab, who were among the Ammonites, and in Edom, and that were in all the countries, heard that the king of Babylon had left a remnant of Judah, and that he had set over them Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan, even all the Jews returned out of the places whither they were driven, and came to the land of Judah, to Gedaliah unto Mizpah, and gathered wine and summer fruits very much. Moreover, Johanan the son of Kariah, and all the captains of the forces that were in the fields, came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, and said unto him, Dost thou certainly know that Baalis the king of the Ammonites hath sent Ishmael the son of Nethaniah to slay thee? But Gedaliah the son of Ahikam believed them not. Then Johanan the son of Kariah spake to Gedaliah in Mizpah secretly, saying, Let me go, I pray thee, and I will slay Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and no man shall know it. Wherefore should he slay thee, and all the Jews which are gathered unto thee should be scattered, and the remnant in Judah perish? But Gedaliah the son of Ahikam said unto Johanan the son of Kariah, Thou shalt not do this thing, for thou speakest falsely of Ishmael. Jeremiah 41. Now it came to pass in the 7th month that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah the son of Elishama of the seed royal, and the princes of the king, even 10 men with him, came unto Gedaliah the son of Ahikam to Mizpah, and there did eat bread together in Mizpah. Then arose Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and the 10 men that were with him, and smote Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan with the sword, and slew him, whom the king of Babylon had made governor over the land. Ishmael also slew all the Jews that were with him, even with Gedaliah at Mizpah, and the Chaldeans that were found there, and the men of war. It came to pass the 2nd day after he had slain Gedaliah, and no man knew it, that there came certain from Shechem, from Shiloh, and from Samaria, even 80 men, having their beards shaven and their clothes rent, and having cut themselves with offerings and incense in their hand, to bring them to the house of Yahweh. And Ishmael the son of Nethaniah went forth from Mizpah to meet them, weeping all along as he went. And it came to pass as he met them, he said unto them, Come to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam. And it was so, when they came in the midst of the city, that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah slew them, and cast them into the midst of the pit, he and the men that were with him. But the 10 men were found among them that said unto Ishmael, Slay us not, for we have treasures in the field of wheat and barley, and of oil and honey. So he forbare, and slew them not among their brethren. Now the pit wherein Ishmael had cast all the dead bodies of the men whom he had slain because of Gedaliah was it which Asa the king had made for fear of Baasha king of Israel, and Ishmael the son of Nethaniah filled it with them that were slain. Then Ishmael carried away captive all the rest of the people that were in Mizpah, even the king's daughters and all the people that remained in Mizpah, whom Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard had committed to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, and Ishmael the son of Nethaniah carried them away captive, and departed to go over to the Ammonites. But when Johanan the son of Kariah and all the captains of the forces that were with him heard of all the evil that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah had done, then they took all the men and went to fight with Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and found him by the great waters that are in Gibeon. Now it came to pass that when all the people which were with Ishmael saw Johanan the son of Kariah and all the captains of the forces that were with him, then they were glad. So all the people that Ishmael had carried away captive from Mizpah cast about, and returned, and went unto Johanan the son of Kariah. But Ishmael the son of Nethaniah escaped from Johanan with 8 men, and went to the Ammonites. Then took Johanan the son of Kariah and all the captains of the forces that were with him, all the remnant of the people whom he had recovered from Ishmael son of Nethaniah from Mizpah, after that he had slain Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, even mighty men of war, and the women and the children and the eunuchs whom he had brought again from Gibeon. And they departed and dwelt in the habitation of Chimham, which is by Bethlehem, to go to enter into Egypt, because of the Chaldeans, for they were afraid of them, because Ishmael the son of Nethaniah had slain Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, whom the king of Babylon made governor in the land. Jeremiah 42. Then all the captains of the forces, and Johanan the son of Kareah, and Jezaniah the son of Hoshaiah, and all the people from the least even unto the greatest, came near. And they said unto Jeremiah the prophet, Let, we beseech thee, our supplication be accepted before thee, and pray for us unto Yahweh thy God, even for all this remnant, for we are left but a few of many, as thine eyes do behold us, that Yahweh thy God may show us the way wherein we may walk, and the thing that we may do. Then Jeremiah the prophet said unto them, I have heard you. Behold, I will pray unto Yahweh your God according to your words, and it shall come to pass that whatsoever thing Yahweh shall answer you, I will declare it unto you. I will keep nothing back from you. Then they said to Jeremiah, Yahweh be a true and faithful witness between us, if we do not even according to all the things for which Yahweh the God shall send thee to us. Whether it be good or whether it be evil, we will obey the voice of Yahweh our God, to whom we send thee, that it may be well with us when we obey the voice of Yahweh our God. And it came to pass after 10 days that the word of Yahweh came unto Jeremiah. Then called he Johanan the son of Kareah, and all the captains of the forces which were with him, and all the people from the least even to the greatest, and said unto them, Thus saith Yahweh, the God of Israel, unto whom ye sent me to present your supplication before him. If ye will still abide in this land, then will I build you and not pull you down, and I will plant you and not pluck you up. For I repent me of the evil that I have done unto you. Be not afraid of the king of Babylon, of whom ye are afraid. Be not afraid of him, saith Yahweh. For I am with you to save you and to deliver you from his hand. And I will show mercies unto you, that he may have mercy upon you, and cause you to return to your own land. But if ye say, We will not dwell in this land, neither obey the voice of Yahweh your God, saying, No, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread, and there will we dwell. And now therefore hear the word of Yahweh, ye remnant of Judah. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, If ye wholly set your faces to enter into Egypt, and go to sojourn there, then it shall come to pass that the sword which ye feared shall overtake you there in the land of Egypt, and the famine whereof ye were afraid shall follow close after you there in Egypt, and there ye shall die. So shall it be with all the men that set their faces to go into Egypt to sojourn there. They shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, and none of them shall remain or escape the evil that I will bring upon them. But thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, As mine anger and my fury hath been poured forth upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so shall my fury be poured forth upon you when ye shall enter into Egypt, and ye shall be an execration, and an astonishment, and a curse, and a reproach, and ye shall see this place no more. Yahweh hath said concerning you, O ye remnant of Judah, Go ye not into Egypt. Know certainly that I have admonished you this day. For ye disassembled in your hearts when ye sent me unto Yahweh your heart, saying, Yahweh your God, saying, Pray for us unto Yahweh our God, and according to all that Yahweh our God shall say, so declare unto us, and we will do it. Now I have this day declared it to you, but ye have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh your God, nor anything for the which he hath sent me unto you. Now therefore know certainly that ye shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, in the place whither you desire to go and sojourn. And it's crazy. You'd think that what they saw happen in Jerusalem, and being scattered, and all the people killed with the sword, and killed by the famine, killed by the pestilence, that they would have a little bit of the fear of God in them, especially after, so soon after. But it seems like they did not have that fear. They were still wanting to do whatever seems right to them. Jeremiah 43. And it came to pass that when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking unto all the people, all the words of Yahweh their God, for which Yahweh their God had sent him to them, even all these words. Then spake Azariah the son of Hoshaiah, and Johanan the son of Kareah, and all the proud men, saying unto Jeremiah, Thou speakest falsely. Yahweh our God hath not sent thee to say, Go not into Egypt to sojourn there. See, again, they don't want to hear this because they had already set in their hearts that they want to go there. right? They already decided before they even went to Jeremiah, they already decided that they want to go into Egypt. They just wanted Jeremiah to say the things that they wanted him to say, right? They just wanted to hear what they wanted to hear. Oh man. But Baruch the son of Neriah setteth thee on against us, for to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they might put us to death and carry us away captives into Babylon. Though Johanan the son of Kareah and all the captains of the forces and all the people obeyed not the voice of Yahweh to dwell in the land of Judah. But Johanan the son of Kareah and all the captains of the forces took all the remnant of Judah that were returned from all nations, whither they had been driven, to dwell in the land of Judah, even men and women and children and the king's daughters, and every person that Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard had left, with Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Jeremiah the prophet, and Baruch the son of Neriah. So they came into the land of Egypt, for they obeyed not the voice of Yahweh. Thus came they even to Taphanes. Then came the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah in Taphanes, saying, Take great stones in thine hand, and hide in the clay in the brickland which is at the entry of Pharaoh's house in Taphanes, in the sight of the men of Judah, and say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will send and take Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and will set his throne upon these stones that I have hid, and he shall spread his robe pavilion over them. When he cometh, he shall smite the land of Egypt, and deliver such as are for death to death, and such as are for captivity to captivity, and such as is for the sword to the sword. And I will kindle a fire in the houses of the gods of Egypt, and he shall burn them, and carry them away captives. He shall array himself with the land of Egypt, as a shepherd putteth on his garment, and he shall go forth from thence in peace. He shall break also the images of Beth-Shemesh, that is in the land of Egypt, and the houses of the gods of the Egyptians shall he burn with fire. So, yeah, we're going to get to it, but we know what happens here, right? We know, if we've already read this, obviously, we know that Nebuchadnezzar doesn't just stop with conquering Jerusalem. He also, afterwards, I don't know how many years after, or if it's months after, but he also comes back again, goes past Jerusalem, goes into Egypt, and does the same thing to Egypt. So that is probably why God was telling them, don't go into Egypt, because guess what? Nebuchadnezzar's coming there. And that's probably why he said, stay in Judah. It's just so sad that they all went. And it sounds to me like, I forget exactly, but it sounds to me that Jeremiah went with him. I don't know if he went with them willingly or by force, because it said that he took all the men, that Johanan took everyone with him. So I don't think Jeremiah would have gone willingly after God told him specifically not to go. So here my thinking is this, that they took him with, they forced him to come. That's my thinking. But yeah, it's a shame. But all those remnant that came into Judah basically got destroyed. So when God prophesied that there wouldn't be anybody left, there really wasn't anybody left. And there was no remnant left in Jerusalem. The only remnant that survived is the remnant that got taken away captive into Babylon, and then 7 years later came back to Jerusalem. Their family members, probably not the people who went into captivity, came back. I don't know. They could have been really old coming back, but probably most likely their children and children's children came back. But the point is, like, and there's so many points, actually, I can't even think of one general point to make here. But, actually, yeah, I can't think of one general point. One general point is to listen to God. Because the consequences of not listening to God are so severe. They're not just bad, they're horrible. Think of what happened to Zedekiah, the king. He didn't listen to Jeremiah, and not only was he taken captive, not only, but his family and his friends died. His sons were murdered in front of his eyes, and his eyes were taken. Like, that is the consequence of not following God. And that is way more severe than what you could even imagine. So, great lesson to be learned here. I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but we need to follow God and listen to Him over our ways, because our ways will eventually lead us into Babylon. So, alright, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys have a great evening, morning, noon, wherever you're at. And remember to put God first in everything you do. Have faith in Him, trust in Him, wait upon Him, and you'll never be sorry. And God willing, we'll see you tomorrow with more Jeremiah. So, thanks and see you later.